Okay, so for the first part of today's lesson, we're going to have a look at how you add and subtract algebraic fractions. So if you can have a go at the questions on screen, okay, and then when you're ready for me to go through, hit play again and I'll show you how to do them. Right, so hopefully you've remembered when it comes to adding and subtracting any fractions, you need to have a common denominator. Okay, so ideally you want to find the lowest common multiple of the two numbers. In this case, with 7 and 5 as our denominators, my lowest common multiple is 35. So I want to make both fractions out of 35. To do that, the first fraction I've multiplied by 5, and I do the same thing to the numerator as I do to the denominator. So that gives me 20 out of 35. And for the second fraction, I multiplied by 7. So again, same thing to the numerator as the denominator, giving me 14 out of 35. And then we just add the two numerators together, but they just have that one common denominator, so we're not adding that one, giving me an answer of 34 out of 35. So that's how we do it with normal fractions, okay, when there's just numbers involved. As soon as we involve algebra, the process is still the same. So we still need to have a common denominator. And therefore, I've got my numbers 6 and 9. So the lowest common multiple for those two is going to be 18. So I want to have two fractions that I can add together, both out of 18. And therefore, for my first one, I've multiplied everything through by 3. So if I do that to the numerator as well, I will get 3x. And for the second fraction, I've multiplied everything through by 2. So again, if I do that to the numerator, I will get 4x. And then I can just add the numerators. So 3x, add 4x, all over 18. And that gives me an answer of 7x over 18. And you just need to check that it's fully simplified at the end. Okay, we can do it with slightly more complicated algebraic fractions, so where we've got more of an expression going on the numerator rather than just a single term. But it's still the same process where I need to have a common denominator. So this time I've got the numbers 3 and 4. And so a good common denominator for these two would be 12. Okay, and therefore for my first fraction, I've multiplied everything through by 4. So I'm going to show that I'm doing that using brackets. So I want 4 lots of x minus 2. And for my second fraction, I've multiplied everything through by 3. So again, I'm going to use brackets. So I've got 3 lots of 2x plus 3. Then what I can do is write the numerator again as a single line. So I've got 4 bracket x minus 2 added to 3 bracket 2x plus 3, and all of it is now over 12. Then I can expand my brackets. So I will end up with 4x minus 8 at that point. And then if I expand the second set of brackets, I will have add 6x. So can't quite see that one very clearly, so let's make that a bit better. So add 6x. Oops, still not working. Bear with me. There we go. So add 6x, add 9, all over 12. And then we just need to fully simplify that. So my 4x added to my 6x will give me 10x. Minus 8 add 9 will give me 1. Okay, so I can then add 1 on the end, all over 12. Okay, and then again, we just need to check that it's fully simplified. So yes, 2 would go into 10 and 12, but it doesn't go into 1, so therefore fully simplified on that one. And then our worst kind are where both our numerator and denominator contain expressions rather than just single terms. So you'll have noticed when we've done any of the other fractions that you can get a common denominator by actually just multiplying the two denominators together. Ideally, we want the lowest common multiple, as we said, so that's why we didn't use 54 on this one. Otherwise, we would have had to have simplified, but it works for the majority of them, and it will work. You've just got to remember to simplify at the end. So that helps us when we come to do these trickier ones here. So to have a common denominator using x plus 1 and x minus 2, I will need to multiply those two denominators together. So I'll have x plus 1 and x minus 2 as the denominator on the first fraction. Take away x plus 1 and x minus 2 on the second fraction. All right, now it works the same way whether you've got add or subtract. So this one is a subtract question. There's just one slight difference when you come to simplifying at the end. And therefore, for the first fraction, I had x plus 1 as my denominator, and I've multiplied by x minus 2. So I need to do that to the numerator as well, and therefore I show that with brackets. So I've got 2x minus 1, again multiplied by x minus 2. And on my second one, I multiplied through, so I had x minus 2, I've multiplied by x plus 1, and therefore I end up with 3 bracket x plus 1. Okay, then I can write my numerator out a little bit better. So I've now got 2x minus 1 and x minus 2, take away 3 lots of x plus 1. And because it's a takeaway, it's really important that you are careful when you come to expanding your brackets. All over x plus 1, x minus 2. And then we want to expand the brackets on the numerator, but we want to leave the denominator as nice and tidy and as simplified as possible. So we are actually just going to leave those 2 brackets in that format, and then we'll see if we can tidy up the top bit. So we need to expand our brackets here. So I will end up with 2x squared minus 4x, and then minus x and plus 2. And then when I expand the other set of brackets here, remember I've got minus 3 times x, so minus 3x, minus 3 times 1, so take away 3. And all of that is over x plus 1, x minus 2 in brackets. And then we just need to simplify our numerator. So we have 2x squared minus 4x minus x gives me minus 5x. Take away another 3x gives me minus 8x. And then we've got positive 2, take away 3, giving me negative 1. All over x plus 1 and x minus 2. Now, more often than not, we can leave it in that format, and usually the numerator doesn't simplify. However, in an exam, if they asked you to leave it in a particular format, they would be implying at that point that you could factorize and simplify something using the skills you learnt yesterday. So you do need to double check. But the reason we know this one won't factorize is it ends in negative 1. The only things that multiply by negative 1 are 1 and minus 1, and there's no way we can use 2 and 1 to get minus 8, so that one is fully simplified. Okay, there is a worksheet attached on the Google Classroom, so give it a try. There's a range of questions to choose from, depending on the level of difficulty, and therefore you can pop your scores on the Google Sheet when you finish. Remember to ask any questions if you're not sure how to do any of them.